What we're going to do today is just go over some basic kennel training. So very first thing, when you guys are talking to him, that builds excitement in the crate, and it gets them going in the crate, and it makes it harder to slow down. So we honestly, when dogs are in the crate, we just leave them be. We don't talk to them. We want them to be calm and rested, and to lay down and to go to sleep, and to just kind of turn off their minds, because that's their safe spot. So that's the ultimate goal. Dog training is so different than just pet ownership. Pet ownership, they kind of rule our roost. They kind of do whatever they want to do. They're on the couch. We love them. They're our fur babies, you know, all the things. But they're not. Dogs were bred specifically to do jobs. There's only a handful of dog breeds that don't have a specific job. I don't know if, like, Chihuahuas, I don't think they have a real job. Shih Tzus, you know, we're like the queen's dogs or something, you know, they're just like lap dogs. But other than that, like your rat terriers, your small dogs, they were made for hunting rats in the barn. You know, they have a job. She's a herding dog. What do Cocker Spaniels do?
I would have done retrieving on ducks and stuff.
Okay, so they all have a job. So we bred them to do things for us. So I'm going to catch the major flack for not calling them my fur baby, but they're really not. They have a job, and it changes our mindsets. So we're gonna love them, but fostering is way more than just loving a dog. We have to set them up for success in their next home. They're just kind of passing through with us. Dogs need strong boundaries, and they need strong leadership. They'll thrive with this. This is something that actually is very good for them, and they want it. That's how we train. That's how we bred them to be, is for us to guide them into what they're supposed to do next. They will look for us for guidance. Bored dogs make bad decisions. Bored dogs dig holes in the yards. Bored dogs get out of fences. Bored dogs do all the things that they shouldn't be doing because they're looking to us to kind of help make those decisions for them. Dogs don't speak English. Regardless of what I think and the conversations I have with my dog, he does not understand. So if I'm repeating a command, sit, 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 he's not understanding that because the sound is just bloop, 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 bloop. Like they just don't understand it. We want to make sure that we're direct and that we guide them into what they're doing next. Dogs speak through body language. So it's really important that we're paying attention to their body language. They're going to understand our body language before they understand our words that we say. So if I'm walking into a dog, they're going to be backing up from me. If their ears are backed and tucked, they're probably uncomfortable. Dogs don't yawn because they're tired, they yawn because they're anxious. So these are all kinds of clues that we can look for in helping us read and understand them. In the beginning, when you first bring a dog home, they need to earn their privileges. They need to earn their blankets, they need to earn their toys, they need to earn sleeping on the couch, getting on the bed, all those things. One, we don't know if they chew up blankets. We don't know if they're gonna pee in the crate on the blanket. We don't know if they're gonna pull the stuffing out of the toy and swallow it. Christy just had a major surgery on her dog for a blockage because chewed up the couch, swallowed the cushions. So they have to earn these things. And through earning them, it doesn't have to be, you know, weeks or anything, but we got to get to know the dog before we start giving them things, because we don't know what type of dog that they are when we're bringing them home. We know very little about the foster dogs that we bring in. And dog training essentially is just about patience, consistency, and repetitions. That's it. Don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be perfect at it. We have all realized and experienced how forgiving dogs actually are. And so our imperfections in dog training is, you know, they're not going to hold it against us or anything. So the basics for a new dog when you're bringing them home is you're going to get to know your new dog without distractions. You're going to choose the right size of the crate. You're going to crate test them. A crate cover sheet, if you need one. We use them in spay and neuters to separate the dogs so we can have a whole bunch very close. There's safe foods for Kongs and lick mats to help reduce anxiety in the crate. And then we're going to just a few extra details on what separation anxiety looks like for dogs and crates. So you're going to first get to know your new foster. Most of the time we don't know if they're good with kids, if they're good with cats, if they're good with dogs, if they're good with males, if they're good with females, if they're good with, you know, my son has big black hair, and I don't know if dogs are gonna look at that and be like, whoa, what is this? You know, because sometimes dogs don't like hats, and they're not experienced with glasses or with umbrellas or, you know, anything like that. So we're gonna put our resident dogs away. I never walk into a house with a new foster dog if my resident dogs are out, ever. I always give them the space that they need. A lot of times they're coming out of a shelter, and so it's very loud, very noisy, very stressful, and I don't need them walking into that at my house as well. Sometimes I put my kids away. Go to your rooms, you know, go do something, because I don't know this dog. You know, of course now my kids are little adults, and so it's easier, but when they were little, I don't know if the dog is experienced with kids, if they're gonna lunge at a child, because I did have that happen at my house one time. It's scary. Allow your foster to sniff around your backyard or around your house. However, if you have a flight risk dog, don't go in the backyard. We're not gonna do that yet. We're just gonna go around the house. When I bring home a new dog, there's no pressure for me to pet the dog, for me to talk to the dog, for me to do anything with the dog. It's literally the dog is just experiencing the new environment. But I'm gonna have treats, or I'm gonna have food every time the dog comes near me, so I can offer it something delicious. So they always know, like, oh, she's got something good, so she's always going to have something good, you know. So it's a good experience with me, and then starting to fill out what the environment is. And this also starts the bonding relationship between you and your new foster. When we're doing that, you know, if it's in the middle of the week and you've got just a couple hours, you've got just a couple hours, and that's fine. Do what you can with the time that you have. We're not going to be like, you have to take a day off of work. No, it's not like that. Dogs, like I said, dogs are really forgiving, so you do what you can with the time that you have. We're going to select the right size of crate. When you've had a lot of dogs, you kind of begin to understand their sizing and what they need just by looking at the crate, because you've had different size crates in your house multiple times. But if you're new to fostering, you can see this crate is honestly too big for Java, but this is the size crate I have her at home because she can handle it and she can deal with it and she likes it. But we're going to measure the dog from the top of the head to the toes and see where they're at for the height wise here. And then we're going to measure from the snout to the tail. Now some tails are going to go out and up and stick out, and you got to kind of adjust for that. I don't want you to have a 6-foot long crate because of their tail, but you know, we also don't want to make it to where they're slapping it and they get happy tails or something, because that can be dangerous too. So once we have the measurements, we're going to add a couple of inches. If you're in between sizes on crates, you're always going to want to try the larger crate first, because the dog's going to be more comfortable. Now, if you're trying a larger crate and you have a younger dog who is not potty trained, you might have to go down a size, because a lot of times dog training, all of these skills swim together, and you do them all in, not separately, but going in and out with all of them. So for Java here, if she was not potty trained, I would make this crate smaller for her, because dogs don't like the potty where they sleep. But with it being bigger, she could potty in one part and she could be at the front of it or at the back of it, and there's too much space. So she has room to potty and not be in it. So that kind of helps determine what size crate you're also going to have. Sky, who I have, she can't handle a larger crate because she potties in them, and so she's in a little bit smaller crate while we continue to work on it. So I give her a chance for the larger crate, and then I take it back, and then I'll give her a chance, and then I'll take it back, because we ultimately want them to be able to have more space, be more comfortable.
I like having a slightly bigger crate, especially with an adult dog that is potty trained, because I feed in my kennels, and so I like a smaller bed that stays on the bed portion then, because I wet down food and stuff, so it ends up sloppy.
Yeah.
So they slop all around here, and they've got a nice pristine bed there. So
Yeah.
he's in a 36 at home, and it's plenty of space.
Right.
Works.
Yeah, if he's potty trained, anything works. You can put him in a 6x6 pen, you know, if they're potty trained. That's the ultimate goal with crate training, is that we're also potty training the dogs. A lot of the puppies, a lot of the litters, we need to start that because people don't like to do that. So we have to do that. So yeah, I start all of my adult dogs in these giant crates because I don't want to take them down and put them up and take them down and put them up. So they just stay there and then we figure it out from there. But for sure, if he doesn't chew on things, so that's okay. He leaves things alone, that's okay. I put water buckets in my crates. They have hooks and they hang on the side there because dogs always run a little bit dehydrated anyway, so they should always have it available. But again, Sky, she can't handle the water bucket. She spills it, so she doesn't get one. So we make sure that, you know, we add water to her food and she gets plenty of chances to drink with all of her meals and, you know, all the things, but she can't handle that responsibility yet. So we have to adjust things for the dogs. If they're willing to potty in the crate, specifically younger dogs or puppies, it's too big.
Okay.
Because they have space to potty and then to live. And so we want to make sure that they only have space to live. Like I said, we give privileges as they earn privileges. So when would you consider an X pen with your crate setup? So this is going to be for your really scared dogs, your bite risk dogs, your dogs that growl or show teeth at you when you try to put your hand in to get them from the crate. Because we don't want to make the crate stressful, but we have to be able to handle the dog safely. And we don't want you crawling into a crate and then the dog snipping at you. With both Sky and Greta, I started them off in a kitchen with an X pen. So we all know what an X pen is.
No.
It's like a playpen kind of thing on top. Yeah. So any dogs that are going to run under your bed and you can't get to, any dogs that are going to bite you, you want to put a crate inside of an X pen. Because you can put the potty pad on the outside. They can go on to the bathroom there. You can feed them, you can water them, you can interact with them, but they're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to have to find them and search for them. Gives them a safe spot to go. I also, when I'm bringing home this type of dog, we'll put like a sheet over the X pen so it blocks it out. So that my dogs can't see in, that dog can't see out, but everybody can smell each other. Because that's how they experience the world anyway, is by their smells. Things to consider: will the dog jump the X pen? Will the dog push it down? Or will your dogs do the same? So will your dogs jump into the X pen? Because we don't want to do that either. And we talked about covering with a blanket or something to provide it, make it a little bit more secure feeling. Because sometimes these scared dogs prefer the smaller spaces. While we teach adopters the rule of threes, we have to follow the rule of threes ourselves. So we're going to give the dog time. We're not going to force pets. We're not going to force, you know, them to interact with us. We're going to keep food and everything handy to give them, but we're going to let them decompress. So the rule of threes is 3 days to decompress from moving. So from coming out of the shelter to your house is a move, and they're going to be like, whoa, you know, you've got kids, you've got dogs, you've got cats, you've got vacuum cleaners, you've got cars starting up, horns driving by. It's different. And then we've got 3 weeks is where they start to learn your schedule. So they learn when you go to work, they learn when they get fed, they learn when they go out to potty, they learn kind of when you're home in the evening watching television. And then it's 3 months for them to feel at home. So this is going to vary for all the dogs, especially if your resident dogs are not used to foster dogs. You have to think of it on your resident side too. It's going to change their schedules, and they're going to need to decompress because it's a new smell, it's a new dog, it's new breed. If they're female and they've never been around a male, or you know, things like that, it's going to change their schedules because they now have to be fed first or second. They have to share outs and potties and space, and then they'll adjust to it the same as a foster dog. So So don't forget your own dogs in that rule of threes. My dogs are used to dogs coming and going. All the time I have dogs coming and going. So they're used to it, but that doesn't mean that around the X pen that they're not running over there to see who that new dog is. They're like, who do we have here now? You know, what's going on now? So it's really important to not forget about the changes how it affects your resident pets too. So some do's with crate training. I feed all of my dogs in crates. All of my resident dogs have a crate. They all feed in separate spaces. That makes it enjoyable for them, and they know good things are happening in here. I don't free feed. Free feeding is very bad for pets. Free feeding can cause issues such as resource guarding. It can cause dogs to overweight. When they're overweight, they have joint issues. They pass away sooner. We really need to work on making sure that dogs have a schedule. They benefit from a schedule, the consistency of the schedule, and all of those things. So if they don't eat it, you take it away. And I promise it's fine to take it away. Promise. We all can go without a meal. I can go without a meal, you know, and same with our dogs. Most of our dogs are overweight in the pet world. In fact, my vet said, put a couple pounds on your dog. But it helps with the training because they're always motivated. They're always going to work for me because I'm always going to have something for them. Reward quiet and calm behavior. So I will, on a new dog, I'll put all of their daily food in a bowl. Put it on a table, on an island, wherever. So I'm grabbing out of that bowl and they're calm, she's relaxed, got food falling from the sky. Woo! You know how awesome that is to get rewarded when you're quiet? So she's gonna figure out like, oh, if I keep this behavior up, I'm gonna keep getting fed, right? That's what we wanna reward. And at the end of the day, whatever I haven't given them, I give them for their dinner. So she gets about 2.5 cups a day. So if I put it in a bowl, at the end of the day, she'll get whatever's left. If they're jumping on me and I catch them not jumping on me, you can get a reward. If I catch them sleeping by the fireplace, I can drop food with them. It doesn't have to all be crate related. It can be anything. If you catch a good behavior that you want repeated, then you have food in order to give to them. You want to vary the amount of time that they're in the crate in the beginning. When I say vary the amount of time in the crates, you're going to do what you can with your work schedule. So that first day, when you're testing them out in the kennel, you're going to close it up 2 minutes. You don't have to do it very long. You can release them. And then you're going to 5 minutes, release them. 3 minutes, release them. You're going to come and go from the crate. So we don't always want to just go up. We don't want to do 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because we want to make sure that they know that they can come and go from the crate. We want to keep the crates near the family. So we don't want to put them in the basement, in the back far room, in the upstairs, in the back bedroom. We want to make sure that they're hearing household noises, because street dogs don't know what it's like to live in a house. So they don't know the vacuum, they don't know cooking dinner, they don't know screaming kids, you know, all of the things. We want to get them used to the household noises, and we want them to just exist and to be calm. That's what a well-socialized dog is. A well-socialized dog is calm in any environment that you put them in. It doesn't mean actually playing with other dogs. It doesn't mean interacting with other people. It means being able to be calm and relaxed wherever you take them. So we're going to put them in the living room. We're going to put them in the family room. We're going to put them in a closed bedroom, somewhere near, so that they experience the family part of it. Provide enrichment. So frozen filled Kongs you can use as their meals. You can mix it with the food, put a little bit of treats and good stuff in it, put it in the freezer. When you leave for work, give that to them so that they have to work to eat it, so that they stay calm. Working their brains is going to keep them calmer, quieter. They're going to take a nap. You can do a lick mat. However, you need to have supervision on the lick mat because we don't know these dogs. And lick mats can be torn apart and they can swallow pieces. So, but it is another option. We're going to use crate training in conjunction with potty training. So make sure your dog goes outside before they go in the crate. When they come out of the crate, they go outside. In the evenings when I'm home, dogs are in and out for the bathroom 5 or 6 times. We just go in and out, in and out, in and out. Before they get dinner, they go outside, they come inside to the crate. When they are out after dinner, they go outside, and then they come in. They don't come out of the crate and not go to the bathroom. Always. They could be in there 30 minutes, they could be in there 3 hours. We're always going outside to go to the bathroom. Water's okay, we talked about that, but make sure they're not spilling it, make sure they're not dumping it, playing in it, pawing in it, and that they're not pottying. So you don't want them drinking so much water that they can't hold it while you're gone. Leave the crate door open when the dog's not in there, so that way you encourage behavior of them being able to go in there and feel comfortable if they need to get away. Sometimes I have fosters who are like, whoa, Christmas is a big, like, this is hard. Gift opening, paper going everywhere, everybody's excited. They'll just hang out in their crate because they don't know what else to do. It's a safe space, it's their space. When my kids were younger, we don't go to the crate, we don't hang out at the crate, we leave the dog alone when they're in the crate. It's their bedroom, essentially. So the don'ts of crate training. We don't allow children inside the crate. Never. We don't allow our toddlers to climb inside the crate to get the really cute picture because we don't know these dogs. It is so dangerous. It is not safe. The last thing you want to do is end up in the ER with stitches, and then we'll probably have to put the dog down, unfortunately. So we're going to just take away that option and not allow it. We're not going to start out with blankets, beds, pillows. Again, we don't know if they chew. We don't know if they'll pull out stuffing. We don't know, how they're going to handle it. They might potty on the bed, and you won't know that they've gone potty because you pull the bed out every day. I mean, I don't know that I pull the bed out every day. So we don't do it at the beginning. They have to earn that to make sure that they're safe and able to handle it, and we get to know the animal a little bit more. Each dog gets their own crate, period. We don't share crates. We don't put 2 dogs in a crate. There's not enough space to share a crate. Now the only exception to this is when we have 6, 7, 8-week-old puppies. They're going to be all together. That's the only exception. And again, we're not going to put the fosters in the basement or away from us. We're not going to make departures for work a big deal. We're just not, because that hypes them up. That gets them excited. I put my dog in the crate in the morning and off I go. It's hard, right? It's hard. Bye, puppy. I love you so much. I'll see you later. Because that's what we do. But that excites them, and that builds up anxiousness, that builds up the separation anxiety, that gives them a reason to want to be out of the crate, right? So we have to kind of change that mindset because they're not our fur babies, remember? Yeah, they are. But we have to treat training differently than we treat our own resident pet dogs, okay? And don't just put your dog in the crate to feed them and to leave. We're going to use it throughout the day. So we're going to put them in the morning to feed them, and then we're going to let them out. And then mid-morning, we're going to put them back in there. Because we need to know that they can see us in the kitchen and they can be put away. It helps with that sort of separation anxiety type stuff by making them comfortable of going in at all times of the day. Plus, a lot of the dogs we have are 10 months to 2 years, and they're tired toddlers who need to sleep and to take a nap and to recharge. So if your dog is young and they start getting bitey and mouthy and not listening and pushy, they need a nap because they are like, I'm not tired. I don't need to go to bed. You know, the crying toddlers are like, I don't want to take a nap. Those dogs, they need to take a nap because that's what they're doing. They're not talking to us, but they're biting and they're pushy and they're becoming annoying. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Another one. We're not going to open the crate door if they're barking, crying, or whining. We're going to have to get out our fighting kid ignore ears and just block it out until they're calm. Because the very first time that you open the crate door with them barking, you've just set the precedence of if I bark, you're gonna let me out. So we can't do that. They have to be calm. I don't care if they're calm for just a few seconds. They don't have to look like this to open the door, but they can't be making any noise. And it doesn't take long to reset a dog from barking to being quiet. It doesn't have to be a minute. It doesn't have to be anything. They just have to not be barking for a few seconds, and then we're gonna open the door. If you have barking dogs right now and you're opening the door for them, it's gonna be a tough change when you start setting in the new rules of being calm to open. They get it very quickly, especially when you're rewarding them for being quiet. So if they know that they're being rewarded throughout the day for being quiet, it's not gonna take long to turn that off. So using a crate cover. This is a big one that I do when I bring in home new dogs. I have a lot of dogs sometimes that can't be together. I do a lot of crate and rotate. She is a bossy female. I recently had another bossy female, so they couldn't go out together because that does not work. I get to be the only bossy female. So they had to rotate each other out. So I did, in the beginning, cover the crate. Now what does that do? That takes away their vision so that they can't see everything going on. And when they see things going on, they're more likely to start barrier reactivity and start barking and being loud and noisy. So if they're only able to smell things, they're just experiencing the world. They're not able to so much react with it. But it also makes it feel more den-like. So with our scared dogs, the darker, smaller space makes it more comforting for them. And again, with the barrier reactivity, I have a dog right now, Greta, who is not cat friendly. So I have to keep her covered when I have my cat out because she goes wild if I don't. And it's not safe, it's not healthy. It puts them in a bad, anxious mindset because they're not calm. But you have to make sure that they're not pulling the cover through the crate. They're not chewing on it because again, we don't want them to swallow any pieces. We don't want any blockages or anything. And we make sure, they're not ripping it all up. So again, it's all going to be based on what the dog and their personality is. But it's a really good resource and I use it all the time. Who fosters puppies? Do we have any? I don't either. Because they're hard. Yes, puppies can learn to crate as early as 9 to 10 weeks. Again, the crate training goes hand in hand with potty training for the puppies. So we're going to do in and outs, in and outs, in and outs, in and outs all day long, which is a lot harder if you work. People who are home all day will do a lot of the puppies and they're just going to be in and out all the time because their bladders are about this big. So we're going to start with short bursts during the day. We're going to capture and reward quiet when we can. And then we're going to release them to play, or we're going to use their nap time. So after they've played, we'll put them in the crate for their nap time so that they're quiet in there. We're going to build up on the young puppies to just a maximum of an hour to an hour and a half a day. We're not starting out going an hour a day, but we're going to build up to that because they still need to be able to release their bladders and potty pads and stuff, but we can just keep going. So we'll increase about an hour per month of age. So it just will keep going up. You will have to get up in the middle of the night to let the puppy out to go potty. For sure once, possibly twice. So toddlers, babies, nursing babies, that's what the puppies are. When we let them out at night, we're not talking to them, we're not having a party, we're going out, we're standing still. We might say that's a good go potty because we want to do that command with them, but we're not having fun, we're not exciting, we're very boring because we're gonna go right back inside and go back to the crate and go to bed. You want to make sure that they've always pottied before they go in the crate. So you're gonna watch for it because you want to make sure that they've gone. And then they're going to go immediately out of the crate to potty again. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, they're still going out to have that option. We're gonna feed the puppy in their crate. There is like a feeder bowl about this big. You can put about a cup of food in it. You find it on Chewy. But they just roll it around and food falls out. And it helps to tire them out. It's an enrichment-based form of feeding for puppies. They love it. So there's also like little Nyla bones that you can give for puppies that they can chew on in there as an enrichment to help kind of calm them down, tire them out. And again, under zero circumstances are we going to open that door with barking, whining, crying. And they're good at it. They're good at it. And they're going to go for a long time. You just have to put your headphones in. You just have to ignore it. If they keep going, cover the crate because that helps. It helps a lot because you're not open to seeing all of the action going on. So whenever a dog's going outside from the crate, I want to capture that. It's kind of like a clicker. I can tell my dogs, even if we've just been out, I can tell them on command to go to the bathroom. Because I don't know if where we're going, I'll have a chance to have them be able to go. So we can create that command in dogs, and it's very beneficial. Therapy dogs have it, service dogs have it. So if they're going into restaurants and things where they're not going to have a chance to go, we can do that on a command. We don't want puppies being required to hold their bladders for very long because it causes UTIs, which is why we're going to have them going potty often outside of the crate, and we're not going to leave them in for long periods of time. Signs of UTIs, pottying in the crate when they haven't before, if they're going multiple times a day, even when you're taking them out multiple times a day, and if there's a really strong odor. Typically we say puppies are up to a year. However, to me it feels more of like the 9 to 10 month range is kind of where they switch from being puppy to more adult. We're going to do all the same things with them as we do puppies. However, they already are able to hold it longer. They're bigger, their bladders aren't nearly as small. Be diligent in it and very consistent and use the crate. If you can't watch your dog because you're busy cooking or something, put them in the crate. We don't want to set the habit of them pottying in the house. The basic skills are not for the scared dogs, the bite risk, or the separation anxiety. So this is just for your basic ready to adopt dogs. We're going to demonstrate some of this so that way you guys can kind of have an idea of what it looks like. How are you doing? So when I'm first doing it, I usually get some pretty high value treats. Yeah, I know. I know. And I'm just going to throw it in there. And they're going to go in, and then she's going to come out. This is just getting them comfortable to the crate.
Yeah.
It's just throwing it in.
So if a dog does not like the crate, this is how you
This is where this is the very basic of where we're going. And some dogs you might have to put a leash on them to get them to go in the crate because they'll go everywhere else. I just don't want them going everywhere else. I'm not going like forcing them into the crate. No. But it's literally like I'm going to throw that in there, and if she didn't go, then if I have to throw multiple in there before she goes, like I have to make it high enough for her to want to go there. So if I have to keep throwing food, keep throwing treats, change up my treats, maybe I have to do hot dogs, maybe I have to do cheese, maybe I have to do sandwich meat, maybe I have to find what's valuable enough for her to go in. The leash is strictly to keep them from going around the dining room table, through the kitchen, around the island. Like, I want her here with me so we can focus on this. Now, have I used the leash to, yes, I have made them go in there with the leash. But that's a different situation and not for the basic type stuff. After I've got them going and doing this comfortably multiple times, then we're gonna go in, I'm gonna take her in, I'm gonna shut the door. But I'm not gonna lock it. I'm gonna open it immediately. Because we don't want to hold them in any longer than we need to. Okay, so we're gonna go in, we're gonna shut it, and then we're gonna open it. Because that signals a different than just going in and out. It's the next step in difficulty. And then we're gonna go in, we're gonna shut it, and then we're gonna lock it. So we're gonna just sit back, but then we're gonna unlock it, and we're gonna open it. That's the next step. So in dog training, you do very small steps in increments because it paints a different picture. We go separate, and we have to do it repeatedly. So it takes dogs usually 25 to 50 repetitions to learn the behavior. That doesn't set the behavior. That's just to learn the behavior. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna shut it, we're gonna lock it. And then we're gonna open it, have her come out. You ready for the next one? Go in, we're gonna shut it, we're gonna lock it, and I'm gonna step back from the crate. And then I'm gonna go forward to the crate. And then we're gonna increase time. And then we're gonna increase me going into the kitchen across the room. And then we're gonna increase me going into the bedroom. And then we're gonna increase, coming and going and hanging out in here. And we're varying our times and availability of when they come in. It's a slow process. And so that's why it doesn't always work on a Wednesday night if you get a dog that night. We just have to do the best that we can. But we can spend that Saturday giving a few more hours of time and making it more comfortable. So we do the best we can with where we're at with our work schedules, but we're always building off of where the dog's at and what we need to do. Valerie did my foster application. Zero knowledge, never owned a dog is where I started with all of this. I had no fence, I had no dog, I had literally zero experience in any part of it. It's only been through WAAL that I have changed my whole career path and understood where it all went. We do want to train older dogs because it is a necessary skill. So when dogs get older, they could hurt their knees, they could have heartworm, they could have something happening to them that they need to be on crate rest. And so it is a necessary skill, regardless if the adopter ever uses the crate in their home, the dog needs to know how to do it. Because we just don't know what's going to happen to the dog when they're older, and they need to be able to calm themselves in a crate. So it is a skill that, as fosters, we do need to prioritize and make sure that our dogs know how to do it when they leave our homes. An hour of dog training is really long for a dog. Okay. We want to always end before they're overly tired, when they're still wanting more, and that they've ended on a good note. So 15 minutes of dog training is equal to about an hour of physical activity. You can make very big changes in 10 minutes a day. If they won't walk in the crate, but we still need to feed in the crate, I'm going to feed the dog right here. I'm going to put their bowl in front of the crate because they have to come near the crate to eat their food. So we're going to start outside of the crate if we have a dog that absolutely won't go in. If the dog won't eat right here at the crate, I'm gonna put it right here. So, because dogs like space. If they don't like something, they want space from something. So we're gonna find their comfort zone. So if it's right here, I'm gonna feed them right here. And then the next day, I'm gonna bring them a little bit closer. And then the next day, I'm gonna bring them a little closer. And then I'm gonna set it right inside the door. So we're gonna just keep moving closer and doing what the dog's comfortable with. We have to take them out of their comfort zone, but first we have to find their comfort zone and then push them to do better and do hard things and to be brave. So we all know what like a calm looks like, right? It's like a chew toy with the hole in the middle and stuff. So we can use their kibble. We can mix it with plain Greek yogurt or with pumpkin or like the baby food packets, the pureed baby food packets. Make it kind of a binder and we can stuff it in there and we can freeze it. Freezing it makes it last longer. They have to work harder. They have to struggle a little bit to get to it. So it's an enrichment and it uses their brain and their nose and their skills and it makes them tired. So then after they're done, they're gonna go to sleep when they're in the crate. So dogs chew on things and lick on things as a form of like release of anxiety, or it's a genetic built-in thing that they do. So if they're chewing on shoes and stuff, we want to replace it with something that they are supposed to chew on versus just taking the shoe away and punishing them.
How do you clean the floor inside your crate? I've never like actually used a crate, so like does it come apart?
Yeah, absolutely. This just slides out. So this just slides out, and you can take it out and you go ahead. So separation anxiety. If you haven't had a dog that has separation anxiety, you're welcome, because it's a lot. It's a lot. It can be a lot. It's in a very extreme behavior. So it's an over extreme of barking. It's an over extreme of fighting to get out of the crate. They don't care if they hurt themselves trying to get out of the crate. They don't care if they hurt themselves trying to get out of the room that they're in. I had a dog one time that ate its way through my door. I came home and the dog met me at my door and I was like, well, this isn't where I left you. Like, what are we doing here? And I went to my hallway and I had a big hole in my door. Those types of big behaviors are different than the whining, crying, barking that is going to be within normal crate training. Dogs feed off of your stress and your feelings and your tension. They can feel it. So you have to remain calm and stress-free when dealing with an anxious dog who's having big behaviors, because they're going to feed off of your tension and your stress if it's going to be worse. You're going to still do all of the training steps. We're still going to try to get them comfortable in the crate. It's going to be slower. It's going to look different. It's not going to be as pretty, but we're still going to walk the dog because we still want to try to make them comfortable here. Or we want to be able to make them comfortable separate of us in the bathroom or in the bedroom without them eating through doors, without them eating through sheetrock, without them eating their way to get to us. We're going to still reward quiet, calm behavior. It's very important. You're even going to want to use higher value treats. So use your hot dogs, use your freeze-dried foods, use your cheese. Whatever the dog is willing to eat in an over-anxious mind is a higher value to them. But we're not going to reward anxious minds. We're going to reward quiet, calm behavior so that they kind of start to reprogram. They're not going to reprogram, but we're going to start giving them the skills in order to be able to not be so anxious. You might need a reinforced heavy-duty crate. We have them here at WAAL. And you might have to visit the vet for medication. They might need a trazodone or something in order to remain calm. Ultimately, we want to try to train them to where that they're not struggling so much and they're not always have to be on medication. But don't be afraid to use it in the short term in order to get them to be able to process learning. Because if we're always overly anxious, our brains are not processing learning. They're processing our anxious behavior, and we can't do it. But the trazodone calms us down, lets everybody take a break, and lets learning happen. Because we want them to be able to be relaxed. Before you put them in a crate, you're going to want to go for a walk. You're going to want to use a sniff mat for feeding. You're going to want to use a short training session. You're going to want to do puzzle feeding. You're going to want to do something that tires them out. A sniff mat is like a rug. You sprinkle the food on there. They're having to sniff through the long pieces to find their food. So the sniff to the brain tires them out. Anything that uses their nose, uses their brain, makes them tired. You can turn on calming music. You can turn on talk radio so that they're not always feeling like they're alone. Some sort of noise, because quiet can make people anxious. It can make dogs anxious. The happenings of the house, they keep happening even when you're gone. It helps. And come in and out multiple times a day. That's going to be the key, making sure that they're using it even when you're there and not just when you're gone. Because we can actually create separation anxiety in our dogs without knowing it. If we're the big goodbyes, create it. The big parties when we leave, create it. Not putting them away and being separate of us. Them always following us to the bathroom. Them always following us upstairs or around the house. Like all of these things become like a codependence of the dog on us. So we need to have them, give them the confidence to know that we're coming back. Varied amounts of time, you're gonna see me, I'm gonna be there, but we have to test it and keep it rolling so we're not developing the anxiety in them. And just seek additional assistance. Reach out. Don't allow the dog to stay in that heightened state because we don't want to keep it going. We want to reel it in as soon as we can. I'm going to just leave you with this, kind of a little funny. Remember that as soon as we say something like, my dog would never, there they go nevering like they've nevered before. So we have to remember to train the dog that's in front of us. Every dog we bring home is going to be different. Every cat we bring home is going to be different. They're going to have different needs, different requirements. It's going to have to be trained different. But meet them where they're at. Meet them where they are. Change your ways if it's not working. Ask questions. Seek answers. Patience, time, consistency, and make sure you love your fur baby.